Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making one of my favorite holiday appetizers, a tomato, pesto, and goat cheese tart. Now this is part of a Christmas in July collaboration with my friend Jenny over at Jenny Goff, and there's also some other amazing channels that are going to be participating, and we are all going to be making some wonderful cooking and decorating ideas for Christmas. And now the other channels that will be participating in this collaboration are Prepper Potpourri, Sutton's Days, Greg's Kitchen, Whippoorwill Holler, Linda's Pantry, Lou Creates, and the Beals. Now I'm going to post all their links below in my description box, so when you're done watching my video you can head over there and subscribe to everyone, because all throughout the month of July there's going to be great recipes from everyone to get you going for Christmas. So let's get started on our recipe. So let's get started making our homemade pesto. For this, you're going to need 3 cloves of garlic and a half a teaspoon of salt. And we're just going to process this up real quickly. And now we're going to add 3 tablespoons of toasted walnuts. Now normally pesto uses pine nuts, but they are so expensive, and I find that walnuts do just as well for like a quarter of the price. And now we're going to add 2 ounces of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. And I like to add 1 teaspoon of fresh lemon juice, and this is going to help the pesto stay nice and green. And now I'm going to add 4 ounces or 1 big handful of basil leaves, and these came from my garden. Add a half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. And process it until it's nice and smooth. And there we have it, our nice fresh green pesto. So our pesto is done, and now of course you could make a lot more of this. You can make a double or triple batch, and I like to freeze it so when it comes to December you'll have some all ready to go in the freezer. And now if you don't want to make your own pesto, they have it in the refrigerated section as well, so you can take an easy shortcut. The next step we're going to do is take about 2 cups of either cherry or grape tomatoes, and we're going to cut those in half. Because these are on the longer side, I'm cutting these lengthwise like this, and we're just going to place them in a bowl, and I'll be back. So here we have our 2 cups of sliced cherry or grape tomatoes. Now let's add about a tablespoon of olive oil, about a half a teaspoon of onion powder, and about a half a teaspoon of dried oregano. And just give that a toss. So we'll set this aside and work on our puff pastry. So here I have my puff pastry sheets. I'm using Pepperidge Farm. This is generally the most common one you can find next to the ice cream section. And what you do is you let it thaw on the counter for about 30 minutes, or you can let it sit in your refrigerator overnight, and it comes with 2 sheets, and I'm just using this one right here. And what I like to do is unroll it, and then it has these little creases here, so I'm just gonna take a rolling pin and sort of flatten them out and make it a little bit longer, more of like a rectangle shape. That looks about right. And then if you kind of mess it up a little, just trim off the edge. Doesn't have to be perfect. We want this to look rustic and homemade. After this is done, what we want to do is make a little border around the edges. And you're gonna do this with a knife, but you don't wanna cut all the way through. You just want to score it. And you want about a 1/2 inch border. And this is gonna help make the outside crust. Take a fork and dock the middle, and that just means pricking little holes in it so that the steam can escape when it's baking.
What do you call it?
It's called docking. You do it a lot when you're making pies. Now take a baking sheet and slide your parchment paper onto the sheet. Just like that. Now we're gonna spread our pesto sauce evenly in a thin layer over our puff pastry. And try not to get it on the very edges. And make sure you don't have too much in one area. Okay, that looks good. After the pesto, take your halved tomatoes and lay them on the top.
Does that have to be cut side up?
I like to, yeah. And lay them cut side up. Now, like I said, this is so good for an appetizer. If you're having a little get together at Christmas and you want something to nibble on, but this is also good for like a brunch, a buffet, or you could have it for like a light lunch with a salad. And it's so Christmassy because you have the red and green and the white. And everyone thinks it's so fancy because you're using the puff pastry. But as you can see, it's really easy to do.
I'm gonna run out of tomatoes.
No, I don't think so.
Wanna make a bet?
Chris thinks I'm gonna run out of tomatoes. What do you guys think? I think it's gonna be close, but we'll see. I think that the longest part is just putting on the tomatoes. Now you could just dump them on there, but I don't like to do that. I like to put them in a nice pattern because I think it looks nicer. Now what do you think? Think I'm still gonna run out?
Maybe spacing it out.
You hear that, guys? He thinks I'm spacing them out more. What do you think? Well, actually, we do need to space them out a little bit because we have to have room for our goat cheese. Because they're gonna kind of go in the nooks and crannies.
And you have too many tomatoes.
I think it's gonna be just right, actually. Yep, it's gonna be just right. Ta-da! Even a few to spare. And here I have some soft goat cheese. Now this is a very large log because I went to Costco, and you know everything at Costco is giant. But they also sell the small ones. It's like 3 ounces. So we're gonna need about 3 ounces of the soft goat cheese, and you're just gonna crumble it over the top. And kind of like I said, put it in the little crannies where there's no tomato. And yes, this is going to stick to your fingers. Oh yeah, don't worry, I'm not gonna forget any spots. Now, I know some people are not goat cheese fans, and that's okay. You can also use feta cheese, or you can use the fresh little mozzarella balls, and you can cut those into like quarters. That would also be delicious. But just use some sort of cheese, or it won't be the same. We have our oven preheated to 375 degrees, and we are gonna bake this for 20 to 25 minutes, or until it is a nice golden brown crust. Let's take it to the oven. So our tart is all finished baking. It was in there at 375 for exactly 25 minutes. The outside is a nice puffy golden brown. Our tomatoes have gotten a little bit shriveled up, and the flavor is more concentrated. And to make it more festive, I've just added a little bit of chiffonade basil on the top.
Chiffonade?
Yes, that's just a fancy word for ribbons of fresh basil. You pay a lot of money at chef school to say that and learn that.
Chiffonade only for basil?
Pretty much it's just a term for basil, yeah. But now if you can't find any fresh basil at your supermarket in December, you can just use chopped fresh parsley, and it's basically just to add some fresh green color to make it more Christmassy. So now let's cut a square and see how it looks. So the bottom is really nice and crispy. So I really think that your guests will enjoy this. And I'm gonna plate it up and I'll take a taste test. So I haven't made this in quite a while, so I'm anxious to give it a try. Now you can serve this warm out of the oven, but I would suggest to let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes before you slice it up, or you can definitely serve it at room temperature. It's really good, you guys. If you love pesto, you're gonna love it. You get the nice sweet taste from the roasted tomatoes. You get the tanginess from the goat cheese, the freshness from the basil on the top. It's a winner. I think your guests are really gonna like it, and I hope you guys are gonna give it a try. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And also don't forget to go down below and check out all the other channels in our collaboration. And we will see you on the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Chiffonade?